You're tuned in to Campus Chronicles, the place where students share real stories beyond the textbooks. Time, our most loyal friend yet fiercest enemy, becomes what we make of it. Today, I am excited to invite Arpita, our guest, to the hot seat as we share our thoughts on the topic from minutes to mindset, growing resilience through time. Hello, Arpita. I'm really glad you could join us here today.
Hey Pooja, you don't know how thrilled I am to be here.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think time itself is a teacher? If yes, then what are the lessons it has taught you?
Oh, absolutely. I think time is one of the greatest teachers out there. You know, if I've learnt one thing, it's that time waits for no man. You know, it's not a respecter of anyone. It just keeps ticking. I think it pushes us to experience life and grow. You know, with the passage of time, I had come to realize that things that once felt were overwhelming turned out to be crucial learning experiences. Not only that, I think it taught me to be patient and that things just don't happen overnight, you know? But my biggest takeaway would always be to be resilient no matter which situation you're in.
That is such a beautiful view, and indeed, we will remember these teachings. So, as you said, time waits for no one. So, how would you justify the fact that time once lost may never be brought back again?
In my point of view, I like to think of time that it does not discriminate among people, you know? It doesn't really bother if you're rich, you're poor, you're successful, you're not, you're pretty, you're not, you know? Everyone has the same 24 hours. Okay, this reminds me of what my father always tells me, that time is like a ticking bomb. You know, the countdown begins the moment you're born. In growing in that environment, it made me realize how precious time actually is, that every minute counts. And I believe that it's not about how much time you have, it's about making it count.
The countdown starts from the minute you are born. That is such a wonderful line. Knowing that time is limited makes it far more precious.
Oh, I completely agree.
Well, like you said in our before questions, resilience is one of the biggest values that you've learned in life. How would you mention that resilience is actually useful?
Resilience. Wow, such a powerful word, you know. But I think when we hear the word resilience, we immediately just picturize someone who never cries or someone who is tough. But you know, that's honestly what I don't think. It has so much more depth to it. You know, it's not just bottling up all your emotions. I love the saying that goes, resilience isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about learning to dance in the rain. For me, it's letting yourself feel all the weight of the setback, you know, and all the emotions that are attached to it. Let it be sadness, anger, grief, but still having the courage to take the next step forward, no matter how hurt you are. I think that is what resilience is.
Indeed, a resilient person is not just someone who is tough or someone who never fails. It is someone who learns from those failures and uses them as stepping stones to success.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, speaking of failure, do you think that there's a difference between simply moving on from failure and actually building resilience through it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. See, even though I completely understand and I completely agree that simply moving on is like far more easier than building resilience through it, I feel simply moving on from failure is saying, it's what is done, no? I can't change anything about it, so I'm not going to do anything about it. It's just time to move on from what the setback is. You're not learning from anything. But I feel resilience is, you know, where you learn, you analyze, and you grow from that setback. And, you know, it shapes you into a stronger and wiser version of yourself. And I believe that makes a lot of difference in the longer run.
Well, yeah, I completely agree with what you said. But sometimes being resilient is hard. So, do you ever doubt yourself when you chase something really big?
Okay, that's such a great question, by the way. I think from my childhood, my parents always inspired me to dream big, aim high, and, you know, work hard to reach it. Every parent says that.
Yeah.
But I remember what my parents used to say. They used to say, always aim for the moon. Because even if you fail, where do you land up? On either of the stars. But if you aim for the stars and you fail, you'll directly fall to the ground. So, no, I don't think I ever doubted myself chasing something big. Maybe because of the environment I was brought up in, maybe because of the spirit of can do that I had in myself, or maybe because of the perseverance my parents had instilled in me, for which I am still very grateful for.
That is such an amazing thing your parents used to say. Sometimes being perseverant is not always letting go. There's a fine line between it. What do you think is your take on it?
Oh, that's such a crucial question that everyone just fails to address. See, in my point of view, perseverance is when you chase something you love, chase something you're passionate about, and you chase something that means so much to you. But with the passage of time, I think you come to realize you are pushing not because you want to see yourself there after all the obstacles you cross, not because it feels right to you. Maybe because you're fearful of what stopping might mean. Perseverance, in my opinion, is chasing something you love, something you're so passionate about, something that means so much to you. But I think you realize after some time, you're not pushing to reach that goal after all the obstacles you face. Or not because it feels right to you, but maybe because you're fearful what everyone might think when you take a pause. I think you fear to take a pause at that moment. And you know how one mistake leads to 100 other mistakes. And there you have to take a decision if you want to be persistent or you want to let go. If I was in that such a situation, I would definitely let go. And that is the fine line that I believe is between perseverance and letting go.
Well, sometimes, when we're focusing on one problem, we intend on ignoring all the other problems. And I get it, because it's hard to let something go when you were so passionate about it, and letting
Yeah.
it go just hurts.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because when you cling to something, you find you feel like you're safe. But letting go hurts so much more. But you have to do that for the longer run. It helps you. That's what I believe.
Well, that is a unique view. So, would you like to share some words with our audience before we call it a day?
Oh yeah, I'd love to, absolutely. Time is such a valuable currency. You can neither borrow it nor can you buy it. Every minute, it tests you. If you'd stand up, rise like a phoenix, or you crumble at that moment. The way you spend your time defines the storyline of your life. And while talking about resilience, that's your chance to prove to the world that no setback, no failure, and no obstacle is stronger than you. You won't let it define you. I think that is what resilience is.
That was not just beautiful, it was powerful. Thank you for joining us here today, Arpita.
Oh, I love meeting you and talking to you.
Well, that's it for today. Stay tuned for the next episodes of Campus Chronicles. Would you mind signing off together?
Yeah, I'd love to sign off with you.
Signing off,
Arpita
and Pooja.